TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News, broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israel reiterates its unwavering intention to fight until all of Jerusalem's war objectives are achieved. Hezbollah confirms that 121 of its terror operatives have been killed since October 8th, which is a day after the Islamist Hamas launched its brutal war against Israel. Australia and Greece announced that they will join the Naval Task Force set up by the United States to ensure freedom of maritime navigation in the Red Sea and adjacent waterways. Israelis are broadly united behind the Israeli government in support of achieving the general war objectives that have been articulated since the onset of the defensive war against Islamist Hamas and its terror affiliates in the Gaza Strip. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu hosted an apolitical forum of bereaved families, during the course of which they urged the war cabinet to ensure decisive victory versus Hamas that would guarantee that never again would the atrocities committed on October 7th reoccur.
We are here asking a moment of your time to relay a message from all of the bereaved families whom I need to highlight, derive here from all corners of the land and all of the political spectrum. Our forum, the Forum of Bravery, is an apolitical forum. However, it brings with it a clear-cut message for the War Cabinet and to you, sir, who stands at its helm. We remember the objectives that you laid out at the beginning of this war, and we are here to demand that you fulfill these objectives.
Everyone feels that the nation is united for the purpose of emerging victorious. This feeling is also something that I want to relay from here. We, together, are united in our will to emerge victorious, and together with it, to subdue terrorism.
Premier Netanyahu initially sympathized with the bereaved families, as he himself is a brother of a fallen IDF soldier as well, namely Yoni Netanyahu, stressing that through the agony of sacrifice, the children of Israel have once again reclaimed the lands of their forefathers.
The comfort is your request. The comfort is that we inherit the land of Israel and the state of Israel by these agonies, and this is our test at this given moment. Therefore, this will not be merely a cycle, not yet another cycle. It cannot be because there is national consensus that you have illustrated. It initially included global consensus, but you can see that it is a struggle, which includes pressures. Nevertheless, we understand that we must stand firm, together. It will not be a cycle. There has to be a decisive victory, and that this victory will include the fulfillment of our objectives.
Subsequently, in a filmed statement, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reiterated that Israel would not cease fire until all of Jerusalem's war objectives are achieved, and that the future of Gaza will not include any terror entity.
We are fighting until victory. We will not stop the war until we achieve all of its goals, completing the elimination of Hamas and releasing all of our hostages. The choice I propose to Hamas is very simple: surrender or die. They do not have, and will not have, any other choice. And after we eliminate Hamas, I will use all my power to ensure that Gaza never again threatens Israel, neither Hamastan nor Fatistan.
It is important to highlight that the IDF has completed the eradication of Hamas's chief artery of its strategic subterranean infrastructure that stretched throughout the entire northern Gaza Strip.
Today, we destroyed a strategic terror tunnel network in the Hamas elite quarter in the heart of Gaza City. This is a complex network of tunnels connecting hideout apartments to various facilities and bunkers of senior members of the Hamas terrorist organization, which we revealed to the world yesterday. Over the past few weeks, our forces there have conducted a thorough operation to locate, neutralize, and locating weaponry, intelligence, and the destructions of this infrastructure. Today's destruction of significant infrastructure deprives the Hamas terrorist organization of strategic capabilities.
In parallel to its substantive achievement, the IDF continues to intensify its operational activities in both the southern and northern sectors of the Gaza Strip.
Our forces continue to intensify ground operations in both northern and southern Gaza. Since the end of the pause and the resumption of the ground operations in Gaza, our forces have eliminated over 2,000 terrorists from the air, sea, and land. We have increased the number of soldiers fighting in eastern Khan Yunis and are operating there determinedly with 5 infantry brigades and combat engineering forces, focusing on subterranean combat to drive out the terrorists, fight them as they emerge, and drain the space of Hamas terrorism.
While the IDF is seemingly intensifying its operational activities to eradicate the military and governing capabilities of the Islamist Hamas and its terror affiliates, Admiral Hagari also stressed that the IDF continues to devote extraordinary resources to create the necessary conditions to free the remaining 129 hostages in Hamas captivity.
We have not forgotten for a moment our moral responsibility to bring back all of the hostages who are still being held in Gaza. The Hamas terrorist organization is responsible for the well-being of the hostages, and we will continue to demand medical assistance from the world, but we rely only on ourselves. We will continue to operate so that our round-the-clock operational efforts will lead to circumstances that will bring back the hostages.
It is important to know that similar to the Gaza Strip, terror-instigated hostilities have also intensified along Israel's northern front vis-à-vis the Iranian proxy Hezbollah, which earlier today announced that 2 of its operatives have been killed, raising the total number of killed Hezbollah terror operatives to 121.
In the north, we struck a series of Hezbollah targets in Lebanon, including launch sites, military buildings, and additional terrorist infrastructure. Hezbollah has turned southern Lebanon into a combat zone and continues to endanger the future of the entire state of Lebanon for the sake of Hamas and Iran. We are in a very high state of readiness, and we will continue to act decisively to push Hezbollah away from the border.
While Israel continues to engage its enemies in the Gaza Strip and Lebanon, among other hostile territories, international efforts to contain these hostilities are ongoing. In the southern Jordanian resort of Aqaba, King Abdullah II hosted French President Emmanuel Macron, during which the Hashemite monarch took the liberty to bash Israel by claiming that the ongoing war in Gaza, which he defined as an Israeli aggression, would have catastrophic repercussions on the entire region, and urged the French leader to ratchet up efforts to force Israel to cease fire. Separately, British Foreign Secretary David Cameron, who also previously visited Jordan, traveled to Egypt, where he met with Cairo's top diplomat, during the course of which he chiefly focused his discussions on the dangers emanating from Yemen to international shipping in the Red Sea that naturally impacts Egypt's economy negatively.
We had good discussions on the dangers in the Red Sea of threats to ships. It is absolutely essential that those maritime corridors, that the free movement of ships, of goods, of manufacturers, of oil, of world trade, that they keep going. It will be damaging to Egypt, it will be damaging to Britain, damaging to the whole world if there are these repeated attacks on shipping. That is what Operation Prosperity Guardian is all about, and Britain is proud to take part in that with British ships trying to help keep those sea lanes open. And we really must see an end to these threats.
We continue to cooperate with many of our partners to provide suitable conditions for the freedom of navigation in the Red Sea and, of course, the route to the Suez Canal. We spoke on the principles and how the United Kingdom is a member in the formation of a new marine unit in this framework. Egypt has relationships and cooperation in other frameworks, and we continue cooperation to discuss the most suitable methods for freedom of navigation and the guarantee of the passage of products, and the prevention of any negative effects on this.
It is important to know that while 10 countries had initially committed publicly to the U.S.-led task force to guarantee freedom of maritime navigation in the Red Sea, Naval Task Force 153, which since its inception on April of 2022 also included the Egyptian Navy, has now been further expanded by the Australian and Greek navies.
We've had over 20 nations now sign on to participate. The nations that have agreed to publicly discuss their participation, we've put those out there. Since the announcement on Tuesday, Australia and Greece have also highlighted their participation in this operation. But again, we'll allow other countries and defer to them to talk about their participation.
Earlier this week, in an address to the French National Assembly, Defense Minister Sébastien Lecornu emphasized the importance of the French involvement in the newly enhanced task force in the Red Sea and adjacent waterways.
The American initiative, dear lawmakers, is interesting because it allows us to optimize and share intelligence and options throughout the region. I also want to remind you about the proposals made by the President on the necessary coalitions, tailor-made, that we must develop against various terrorist groups or against various threats, in any case, that the region may present, to bring in regional partners. Khalid bin Salman, Saudi Arabia's defense minister, will be in Paris this evening, and we will have the opportunity to discuss this. We are continuing our exchanges with our American partners within the framework of our autonomy and freedom of action throughout the region. Thank you very much.
Monsieur le député, dans l'ensemble de la région. Je vous remercie.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. This evening, it's important for us to announce that TV7 Israel News will turn a page as our annual Christmas and New Year's broadcast break ensues. To keep you up to date, however, in light of the ongoing war, TV7 Israel will continue to broadcast our TV7 Israel at War updates 3 times a week on our social media platforms every Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays for the next 2 weeks. With that being said, I would like to encourage you, keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel daily. Separately, it is important for us also to highlight that TV7 Israel is a donation-based nonprofit ministry with all of our productions available free of charge. Therefore, if you're blessed by our updates and would like to help us bear the costs, please consider making a donation. You can do so by visiting our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. I'm Jonathan Hessen, wishing you a Shabbat Shalom Mevorach and wishes for a Merry Christmas, and God willing, we'll see you during our upcoming TV7 Israel updates. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.